I went to school in Michigan and I did some training here too, but I know both places pretty well. Actually, three places: New York, Michigan, and Georgia.
What were you doing in New York?
Same thing I was doing here and there.
Yeah.
Living with relatives, going to school, studying, running around, doing the things that they considered cultivating and that wouldn't lead me astray. I love painting and I paint. I draw daily, yet I still concoct and create three-dimensional visages and images and things, and especially things to be handled, because I think the older I get, the more I see that's how I'm better handled when I'm re-examined given time, and looked at a little bit at the time and then moved around a bit. I think all humans work well with that. Never mind what we say, I think that's the best tack to take with human beings, is active involvement, being there with them. And as I say, as one of them, I found that to be real good medicine for me. I've overcome a whole bunch of stuff in life just by getting up, going back to work. Because it's like I said, it's not so much about what was in it or this, even though part of it is interesting that alcohol was the contents. But I like the elements, the old Tudor style bottle design, or the harkening back to that. I want to build like a castle. When I was a boy, I had those castle-like blocks, that came like right before Tinker Toys. They're fun. It's so weird because I have to remind myself at times, I'm a full-grown man, and you got to remind yourself of that too, I've noticed. And for whatever that means, I know it changes in society and all the edicts and the laws and whatnot. But I mean for myself personally that I enjoy so much that I can really have this seriously considered as work, and it is and has been. But yet and still, they're like the things that Pebbles and Bam Bam played with. You get me? Okay. I come out in my yard, almighty, and if somebody's upset me, of course me being the chief upsetter in the house, I can come out and I'll turn them, because I try to get all the moisture absorbed in them. And I've been curing them and following certain processes and checking for, moisture and how it affects the labels I've decided to leave on. Some of them are coming off and I'm allowing for it. Some I'm gonna leave that way for photographing. Yeah, on the regular paths, because I walk a lot. Go back into and I pick them up. And then in the yard, man, I think most of the lighter woods in this are from this pecan tree. In this neighborhood, there's what the people call cherry laurel. I was also told it's called a mountain laurel, and it's fragrant. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's where they get camphor from. I've been told this. I haven't researched it really, but I believe that. And it smells so wonderful. I love working with it. And it's so therapeutic for me in so many ways. It's hard to describe really for you. Yet I work at finding uses for it, and it has lent itself to me in its use, because they really are marvelous, natural pieces. And I like that. And just to impose upon them, to find their usefulness and to allow for it to express itself in a soft cell manner, and knowing so much of this material is destined for the garbage can anyhow, I just feel good about it, because I didn't have to spend a whole lot for this. It took energy and it cost, but it's the kind of thing I like paying. And I'm figuring the only way that I was going to be accepted, especially as a schoolboy from Detroit with relatives in the South, and it was not a very, very easy thing to pass off in society in those days. I don't care what anyone thinks. It seemed to me in my mind and most of the people that I talked to that if I didn't make the attempt to commit something in stainless steel or granite or marble, that I was only talking shit. And earlier on, I did. The money you spend on materials is enough to make somebody weep, but I love them though. That might be Zach. You want me to hold this and you go get it?
No.
Foreigners. It's so easy to forget other people living in the United States. And it's so weird because when you're with them, they won't let you forget the United States exists. What we've done to the world. Well, vessels are representative and they're good. I toted things for years. I like the old expression, the older I get, the closer I get to the old old-timey vernacular, using the words, you know, and things. It's comfort in it, and the vessels are extremely comfortable. You know, I'm loath to even think that someone would tell me that I couldn't use them because they represent for me so well. I mean, even in that word and in the true sense of what we as creative artists or visual artists intend, I think it's absolutely perfect for me, you know, that they exist. But it's like wanting to see a house that's laid and decrepit in the neighborhood for a long time be lived in again. I can impose upon that bottle. Someone else can impose upon that house. I've lived to see that happen right here in Savannah. Didn't we? Hot damn. But I enjoy the personableness of some of the things. I think it increases its value in some cases, that it can be handled and carried and loved. The thing that touched me about seeing the Jews fleeing the Nazis on the film reels that I saw when I was a boy was the fact that so many of them clutched to themselves personable items. Those that did not have children to carry it with themselves, and running those films back and back, I saw them carrying what would be considered to be insane things. Why in the world would she grab that teddy bear? You know, what in the hell could have been in that box that was so valuable? But things that sit around a person's dressing table, it sits on a shelf behind things in a closet that I hide on my bookshelf, in books even, that I know are there, that I'd fear you finding should I die or disappear. Those would be the things that I would grab and carry too, if only to make sure that I set them out so you could find them. Who knows what anyone's idea is, but the fickleness of humanity is a beautiful thing.
Weren't you in Paris for a little while?
Yeah, a couple of times.
For what?
I wondered the same thing too, and I'd sit there just bristling, hoping for it. I don't think I got it. I think I have to go back for it, whatever it was. When you do things like that, you're chasing a dream. And you feel foolish because you realize they're human beings doing the same thing that we do right back here. I noticed so many parallels right away, and I can see now why I saw those things. Or at least I think I know why I saw those things. When I saw the cloister and went to the island.
Which island?
The one in the center, the St. Louis's. The Ile Saint Louis, they call it. Oh boy. What are we gonna do now? I don't know what this wood is. It was a really long piece. That is one thing I did do. It was in the side yard on the table, and it's that wood that it's hairy, has long fibers on it on the outside. I don't know what the world this is. I think it's some kind of decorative thing. A woody weed perhaps. And it separates into threes at some points and duels. Oh, that's not a good piece to see. I have it in a jar somewhere. It shows it a lot better. But yeah. And that's something. I don't know why, but I call that television. It reminds me of the old test pattern. And it has to be handled in order to see that. It have to be handled in order to photograph. But that is sculpture. The idea of being uncommunicable frightens me. Someone declared that they were once. I jotted it down recently, and I don't remember where because I'm reading a couple of things, but someone said that about themselves. And I laughingly said that about myself, and when the serious aspects of it hit home, I decided to use a plastic container to carry large vessels in a big plastic jar. And that will show the effects, and that's just the beginning of it. This offers clarity, and its flexibility, its plasticity is open to interpretation. So yeah, plastic represents that unbelievable aspect of things that we talk about as far as the world of man. And I think I've had more trouble myself accepting it as a medium of modern art than the world will. I mean, goodness, the whole of the world perpetrates its necessity. Who in the world would I be to say that it doesn't belong in any other context?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I don't have to fill up the landfills with it necessarily. We can have it in the house and play with it if we want to. I love having one or two of them around. Here lately, especially, I keep a can full of them out in the yard too. I'm also redoing an idea for a series of pictures that I've created called The Rake's Progress. And there are 5 in the series, and I've decided that I'm going to continue the series but do it on a roll to extend for the duration of the life I have as I know it, because I'm so tired of trying to purport and make up stuff. And as a rake, my progress is enough, you know, and goodness knows I have enough to document about and with. So I think I finally hit upon the swan song of my life in my prime. It'll take me on out. I've been real happy about that. I got it in my mind that I didn't do enough to please folks in my family. They would have much rather I had a PhD somewhere sitting off, perhaps in Southfield, and an apartment in the Rinsin or whatever in the hell. And I'm just foolish as hell to retain that notion. I'm thinking now I need to really get serious, a little more serious about not so much as running to be happy or do as I want to do. I mean, that ain't never helped nobody really when you really look at it closely. I just don't want to feel like I hadn't done enough, you know what I mean? Somebody cast it off and I salvaged it. I hadn't really found anything I was comfortable with to work with it on, because I don't want to beat it up too much. Because you can get things you want. I wanted a lot of money. It's a pity I didn't want good sense to go along with it. Hence the understanding of how valuable and how friendly hindsight can be. Flat one somewhere.
Planning to show anytime soon?
Oh God, I wish I had a real good answer for that. I've been asked that a few times lately. No, I'm not planning to show. That's the answer to the question. I am not averse to the idea, but I've committed myself to acts of creativity. I am going to be true to my craft. The people that I am in cahoots with and that I live with are committed to learning these things. They're committed to coming to understand the processes in total, I would like to think in some cases. If you pretend to anything, you ought to expose yourself to as much of it as you can. Gorge on it and vomit it. Go back for more. If you're compelled to, I encourage that. You must do that. I'm approaching more of a purist portion on the avenue at the point right now, because I do seriously want to make all of you proud of me and happy. You know, and I'm going to do my part, and I know God's going to send the right one to do their part. So when that happens,